Hello, and welcome to Legal Environment of Business. I'm your Professor John Harvey, and this is the first week of summer school, so yay, welcome. I know there's mixed feelings with summer school, so usually there's a lot of stuff going on, and I will tell you with this course, I do the full course. It is going to be an intense 8 weeks of your time. I do stuff in 16 weeks of work in the 8 weeks in there. We are covering the legal environment of business. So it is really everything in the legal system. And we go everything from contracts to the Constitution to administrative agencies, as well as so it's a wide variety, and really what we're doing is talking about the legal environment or the legal system that we have in the United States, but we also delve a little bit into international law as well, but it's in the context of business. And so you think about it in terms of what a business organization, and even the formations and the types of business organizations, how they interact with the legal system. So it's a fascinating course. There's a lot of information in it, and you guys are going to speed read a lot of material to get through this course. So many of you will ask or have asked me already about where's the textbook and how do I get to the textbook, and I can tell you that you will need the textbook for this course because the material, the assignments, the discussion boards, it's all related around the textbook itself. And so make sure and get that. Now, before I go too far into that, let's talk about the schedule. So with the schedule, what I do is I have material close on Tuesday night, and I have it open on Wednesday morning. Now that's very different than other courses. So a lot of times it's everything closes on Sunday night and then opens up on Monday. And I found that weekend is kind of a problematic time, and I get students asking for things on the weekend because they're trying to rush at the last minute. And so this really alleviates that. It also doesn't overwhelm the system where you have all of the assignments and everything due all on the same day. And so Blackboard and the college can have a little more space there by having things done on Tuesdays. So for you guys, the takeaway is very simple. New material shows up on Wednesday morning, and you have until Tuesday night at midnight to get it done. So you have the weekend. You can continue to operate in that same mindset of I got to get all my stuff done on Sunday night. You're welcome to do that. But if you miss it, now you have Monday and you have Tuesday to kind of like make that time work. So you'll find your own rhythm and your own cadence of what day of the week that you want to try and get the material done, or break it out over the periods of time. But the schedule is a little bit different that way. And at the very end of the semester, I just open the material up a little early, so you have a couple of weeks to kind of get the last pieces in. So we kind of course correct to when the college closes things. So very briefly, talking about the different assignments. So what I'll have you do is pretty much each week you're going to go over 4 chapters in the book, and some weeks it may be even more than that. And then you're also taking tests on top of that. So the assignments I have are, one, to do a wiki. So you will collectively write 2 terms and a concept, a brief part of the summary of the chapter. And so I don't want you to write your whole summary of the chapter, because then you're not allowing other people to participate. And so collectively, you guys are going to build a nice chapter summary in this wiki assignment. So don't overdo it. If you do too much work on there, I will dock you points. If you do too little, I will dock you points. So you do need to be in that kind of sweet spot of just writing 2 terms and a concept, And if you're late to the assignment and everyone's already done that, you can spend time formatting, making sure that the wording is spelled right, the organization is right, that you're using all the same kind of bullets and things like that. And if you're really late to that, then you can pull in and write in and add an example to some of the concepts. And so all of that will get you the right kind of orientation there. So that is the Wiki assignment. And then also have you do a discussion board. So I ask a question. It's usually related to some part within the chapter, and then I'm looking for your responses to that. In addition to that, you'll also have quizzes for each chapter. So again, you're doing 4 wikis, 4 discussion boards, 4 quizzes, and when we get to certain chapters, you will then have a test over those chapters. So the tests are not cumulative, they don't build on top of each other, but you will do a test like from chapter 1 through 10, and then from 11 through 18, and so on and so forth, like that. But you will go through the whole textbook, so all the chapters are going to be represented in that form. Now, speaking of the textbook, some of you have had questions about the textbook. I'm going to pause here and show you. That is what the textbook looks like. There are different options for you. You can go to Amazon, you can go to Chegg, you can go to Cengage, which is the publisher, and all of those have digital options. There should be some that are available in the library or in the bookstore as well. If you want to go onto campus, you may call ahead and just check on that. Sometimes they do sell out. This is a popular course. You can use an earlier edition of the textbook. So if you find a 10th edition, you can use that. The chapters are a little out of order, but you can kind of follow along and find the chapters and then kind of orient yourself that way. So if you can't find any 11th edition, you can use the 10th edition. You just have to kind of be aware that chapter 3 is chapter 5, and you'll kind of have to play around with that. But you will need that textbook, so make sure you can get there. In order to contact me, this will probably be the first of 2 videos that I'll do for this semester. So I'm planning on being able to send you weekly messages reminding you of kind of what's coming up, but I've got a lot of travel planned here over the summer, so normally I would do these videos pretty much every week, and I'm not going to be able to do that for every week. So right now I wanted to make sure and have this personal connection with you guys and know that I'm reachable. So if you need to contact me, first place you want to go is probably the Q&A section of the discussion boards, because chances are if you have a question, you're not the only one, and other people have asked that question, and I'm pretty good at getting those responses to the Q&As. And I've found that sometimes my students have taken my other courses, they already have the responses, and they're responding even faster than I do. So if you want quick turnaround, start with the Q&A section, and then you'll also benefit by, other people may have already asked that question. That being said, you can email me. My email address is in the syllabus, and you're welcome to send me a message directly. I will try and respond to those as quickly as possible, but like I said, it is summer, it is travel. There's going to be a spot in the end of June here where I'm actually going to be gone for an entire week. So material will be available, but my access will be very limited in that for that week, and so just want to keep that as clear to you guys as possible on that. There is a phone number where you can try and reach me, but like I said, that's going to be a hit and miss. It's pretty hard to time it just right when you're available and I'm available, and that works. So really focus on the Q&A section. It's going to be your best bet. You're welcome to shoot me an email, and then we can go from there. This being the first week and the first week of material, you've got 4 chapters that are due by next Tuesday night at midnight. So Chapter 2 covers Constitution. And the Constitution that we have here in the United States is a phenomenal document. It covers how our government is set up and structured. One of the things that's really unique about our Constitution is there were things written in there specifically to limit the powers of each branch of the government. So rather than saying what they can do, they were specifically calling out things that you cannot do. And all of that was meant to keep a checks and balance. So we're very fortunate to have a Constitution that it really is a good guiding principle for us. There's been additional things added through Bill of Rights and amendments, and you'll get into all of that and stuff. But the Constitution itself, amazing that it's lasted as long as it has, and the way it's organized and what its intent was. It's phenomenal. And so you get a chance to kind of appreciate it and understand how this works. It kind of covers a quick governmental kind of class in a sense in this chapter, and you understand the balance of powers and how things were organized and how they came about. Chapter 3 covers ethics, and every class in college, especially in the business department, has a focus on making sure that we cover ethics. And there's actually like a 400 level ethics class that I think is required if you're going for a 4-year degree. So you'll get exposed to a lot of this, but here's my 2 cents on this. You can have what is legal be a requirement for somebody, right? So we have the legal law, and the challenges that we have with something that is legal is if we write the rules too specifically, then people find ways around those rules. If we write them too generally, they're not enforceable and people can't understand. If I have a law that just says do good and be good, it's like, okay, that's too general, I don't know what that means. But if I write it too specifically and say, if you make eye contact with a person at noon on a Tuesday, you are to buy them lunch and spend no more than $12, right? Right away, you're instantly thinking, well, what happens if it's not Tuesday? So it's on a Wednesday. What if I don't make eye contact? How can I tell when I make eye contact? And you instantly find ways around a law that is too specific. So we have laws, and we are required to follow those laws. Ethics is a call above that. And it says, even though something is legal, it may not be the right thing to do. And so we deal with ethics because we get into situations where there isn't necessarily a black and white answer here. And so this chapter gives you some guidelines, some frameworks for what do you do when you have something that it's not necessarily clear what's the right thing to do. And so it's helpful for you to have a framework to say, well, how do I lean towards making a decision when something isn't necessarily like there isn't just, answer D, all of the above. It's like you got to make a decision. Sometimes people are going to be hurt or somebody's involved in something, and you have to make that call. So ethics, and especially in this course, we do provide some frameworks for you to use, and that's kind of the intent there. Now, chapter 4 is on alternative dispute resolution. Our government has required that every person has a right to a speedy trial, and our legal system is busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, so speedy trial is kind of a tricky term that's hard to follow. But what has happened is we've created an alternative process that doesn't necessarily require going through the legal system, and that is you can have a dispute resolution process. You can have a third party that can sit there and weigh both of those decisions and then make a decision, make a judgment on behalf of those two parties, and then If there's issues, then they can kind of bring that back to the court system. But in general, this can be very helpful for some niche areas, say something like medical, right? A judge may not have all of the understanding of a doctor in a medical profession to help understand if there's something going on there. But you can go to an alternative dispute resolution group that is somebody that's been a doctor for a number of years and is now handling legal situations, and so they can kind of come into that and go, oh yeah, okay, I understand this and I understand that and I'm familiar with this space, and you can get a better a more informed judgment than spending all your time trying to get the judge up to speed on something that is very nuanced and very specific. So there's some value there. On the flip side of it, you run into the risk that these alternative dispute resolution groups are focused on it being a business, and therefore they may lean towards the side of the companies that are bringing them business versus the people that are not bringing them business but are just part of this ADR process. And so for that reason, there is some questions as to whether or not those ADRs are necessarily truly balanced, truly unbiased. And if you're curious about that, there's an old documentary called Hot Coffee that is a fun one to kind of watch, that jumps into that and describes how ADR has its pros and has its cons. And there's some interesting things there. So for you, the takeaway is there is this process. It can be done, and letting the cat out of the bag there. At the end of the day, you have a right to have your case be heard by a judge. And so even though you go through ADR, and even though they're going to say that the judgment by the courts will support whatever happens in that ADR situation, even that is saying your case will be heard or observed or recognized by a judge. Even if they do support the findings of that, they are still reviewing it. And so you still get your right to a speedy trial, you still get your right to have your day in court regardless. But the ADR process is meant to speed up and make sure that we can be as efficient as possible in our court system. All right, guys, that's a lot of information, and hopefully helpful to get you guys started. Like I said, this is a really fun class, and there's a lot of really good information for you guys. You're going to walk away with this class going, I cannot believe how much material and information this area is, and how much I can practically apply this stuff to my life. So excited for you on that. I would also caution you guys, if this is sounding intense to you, it is intense. There's a lot of chapters and a lot of work, and so if you were thinking I can just kind of skim through this summer school class, I would encourage you to take this class in the fall. Don't feel like you have to take it over the summer. It's a lot of work and may cut into your summer activities. Happy to have you guys drop the class and come back in the fall. I teach the class there, and we have a little more time to kind of unpack some of these things. And like I said, the summer school class, some of you guys need it to graduate. You need it so that you can move on. Totally get that, and I'm in it to win it with you guys, so we will get there. But for those that are thinking this is going to be kind of a simple class and go through, I would strongly urge you to reconsider your options here. We will be covering a lot of material in a very short amount of time. All right, guys. Have a great week. Look forward to looking at your discussion board posts and your conversations, and let me know if you have any questions. All right. Take care.